I approach you like the wind that tears the silence and like the fire that illuminates the darkness. I come upon you with the intensity of heaven that trembles, with the glory that no human eye can measure, and with the sound that shatters invisible chains. Listen, for this is the time when eternity leans over your story, and what I declare now cannot be undone. My armies move, and the heavens bend to clear a path before you, for you are my chosen one, and nothing will stop what I have prepared. This moment is not common. It is Kairos, the opportune time, an instant when heaven touches earth and reveals what was hidden. Do not flee from this hour, for even the angels bow in silence, awaiting your decision. I saw when the night surrounded you with pains that no one knew. I saw your tears fall without witnesses, soaking the pillow like hidden rivers. I saw your thoughts become battle, and your dreams turn to ashes before you. Not one sigh of yours was ignored. Not one silent cry went unnoticed. I was with you in every shadow and in every silence, keeping you when there was no strength in you to rise. I commanded my angels to stretch their wings over you, and even when death hovered at your door, I did not allow the enemy to consume your breath of life. I preserved what no one could see, because what you carry inside of you is greater than all the wars that surrounded you. I am the God who reigns over all kingdoms. I am the judge who overturns sentences, the Lord who tears down decrees of condemnation and establishes decrees of life. I am the general who commands heavenly armies, and no power of darkness can resist my voice. I am the Father who upholds your steps, who does not allow your feet to stumble, even when the path is stony. The enemy tried to raise walls around you, tried to convince you that time had ended, tried to bury your dreams in deep graves. But I say, no weapon forged against you will prevail. The strength of darkness has no authority over you, for you are marked with my eternal seal. The whole of heaven has already moved on your behalf. I released walls of fire around you, rivers of light that rushed like torrents against the darkness. I raised pillars of protection by your side, and even the Archangel Michael placed himself between you and destruction, bearing wounds so that your purpose would not be annulled. The 7 archangels rose in defense of what I placed in you, and the price they paid is proof of the value you carry. The enemy launched invisible arrows, darts aimed at your mind, chains that tried to bind your heart, but I did not allow them to reach you, because your life is not a coin in the hands of chance. It is an inheritance, guarded in the vault of my spirit. And just as Michael remains vigilant, I declare that nothing can snatch you from the palm of my hand. I decree victory over you. It is not a distant possibility. It is a decree established in eternity. Doors that seemed of iron will open like glass, shattered by the wind. The silence of your soul will be filled with peace that descends like gentle fire. The areas where death tried to plant roots will blossom with abundance that flows like a river no one can stop. Where there was barrenness, life will sprout. Where there was scarcity, there will be multiplication. Where there was fear, courage will be born. For I am faithful, and the word that leaves my mouth does not return empty, but fulfills everything I have established. What seems impossible to you today will become testimony of my power, and your mouth will be filled with songs of victory. I call you to say yes. Do not hold back your heart. Do not resist my voice, for your yes releases rivers of healing. Your obedience is the key that opens heavenly gates. Your surrender is the seed that restores even the wounded who rose for you. When you remain, angels receive new strength. When you say yes, chains fall. When you surrender, miracles are released. Your response is not only symbolic, it echoes in the heavens and restores walls that were wounded. The enemy fears your decision because he knows your yes is a decree of victory, not only for you, but for many who will come after you. Therefore, open your heart and remain, for your obedience is the sign that makes the heavens move again. Every pain you carried was not in vain. Every tear became a seed. Every silence was soil where I hid eternal treasures. You thought it was abandonment, but it was preparation. You thought it was destruction, but it was ground where I planted promises. What seemed ashes will now become a garden. What seemed an end will now be a beginning. What seemed emptiness will be space for abundance. Even what broke you will become testimony of my glory. For in you I will establish a monument of victory that no one can erase. I used pain as a hammer, but also as a brush. I used the desert as a furnace, but also as a refuge. Everything you lived is part of the greater canvas, and now I begin to reveal the hidden design. Nothing in your life was chance. Everything bent to the palm of my hand. Even the detours, the losses, the wounds were bent so that my purpose would remain in you. The enemy believed he had won, but he did not know I had already written your story in the eternal book. Look beyond what your eyes see. Look to the invisible, for the invisible is more real than what you can touch. I move heavens. I command the stars. I awaken seas. And all things bow before my voice to fulfill what I decreed over you. Do not cling to the visible that shouts, for the invisible already sings victory over you. The reality that surrounds you is temporary, but the promise I carry in myself is eternal and has already begun to be fulfilled. Open the eyes of your spirit.
Angels rise even wounded, and the Archangel Michael once again lifts the flaming sword that cuts the invisible and opens the way before you. The whole of heaven witnesses this moment, and your life is the stage where eternity manifests. You are not alone, you are not forgotten. I myself have descended to remind you that the time has come to see the impossible happen.
The chains are already falling, the gates are already opening, the rivers are already flowing, and nothing will stop what is coming upon you. Your part is to remain, to believe, and to say yes, because the rest I have already accomplished in you. Behold, I declare the end of the waiting. This is the time when promises blossom, seeds break the ground, angels rise restored, and the breath of my faithfulness covers your path. You were never alone. I was always at your side, and now you will see with your own eyes that the victory I prepared is greater than you dreamed. Receive it, for I am faithful, and what I promised you has already begun to be born in you. I know the battles you fought without anyone noticing, when the tears soaked the pillow and the weight of the night seemed to crush your hope. And I tell you now, no pain went unnoticed. Every breath of yours was kept in the heart of my spirit. I saw your eyes close trying to find rest, but your heart could not silence the hidden cries. I saw the effort to remain firm when everything around you said there was no way out. No shadow covered you without me noticing. No night touched you without me being there. I was with you when the silence seemed greater than any promise, and I extended my hand to sustain your breath when fear wanted to steal you from life. I searched the depths of your being. I know every thought before it is even formed. I know the plans you made that never blossomed. I know the hopes you kept in secret, fearing that if you revealed them, they would be crushed by the scorn of others. I saw the wounds, not only in your body, but in the invisible place of your soul. Wounds opened by words, rejections, accusations, and absences. And I tell you, None of these marks are forgotten because I myself gathered every tear as one who keeps treasures in sacred vessels. I am not indifferent to your weariness. I am not a distant God who observes from afar. I am the one who bends down to hear the whisper of your pain, who touches the place no one dared to touch. When you thought you were alone, I was at your side. When you believed you had lost all strength, I wrapped you with the breath of my grace. When your knees weakened, I lifted your life so you would not be consumed. My presence never abandoned you for a single moment, even when you did not feel it. The enemy tried to suffocate your hope. He cast invisible weights upon you, darts you could not identify. He tried to convince you that there was no more way, that your prayer was not heard, that your voice was lost in the void. But I tell you, every word of yours reached the heavens. Nothing that came out of your mouth was lost. Every cry rose like incense before me, and even when silence remained as the answer, I was working in dimensions your eyes could not see. My angels were sent to protect you. There were battles fought over you that your senses could never grasp. There were wars that set the heavens ablaze while you only wept on the earth. Archangel Michael stood before the darkness to prevent your life from being snatched away. He was wounded in battle because you are too precious to be left to chance. His companions of war rose up, and what the enemy intended against you was undone by the power of my word.
You are living proof that you were guarded in the midst of storms that would have swallowed others. Nothing you faced is a sign of abandonment. On the contrary, it is proof of how valuable you are. The price paid for your protection reveals the weight of the promise I carry over you. The wars fought around you were not because you are fragile, but because you are chosen. The intensity of the opposition against your life is a reflection of the greatness of what I planted in you.
The enemy wanted to extinguish the flame I ignited, but he could not. Even though he blew strong winds, my hand covered the flame, and today it burns again. I did not allow you to be crushed. I did not let you be defeated. When you thought it was the end, I was only writing the beginning of a new story. What looked like ruin will become a foundation. What looked like loss will become gain. What looked like loneliness will be revealed as a place of encounter. Because I was there even when you did not perceive me, and now I reveal that every piece of your story will be used to manifest my glory. You are loved. You are remembered. You are carried in my arms when you cannot walk. The enemy whispered that you were forgotten, but the truth is that your name is engraved in my hands. You are not just one more among millions. You are unique, set apart, called from the womb. The weight you carried is not a sign of rejection, but evidence of purpose. I called you to great things, and that is why the war against you was so intense. The enemy fears what you have not yet seen. He knows that when you rise fully, the light that will come from you will crush much darkness. Now I tell you, lift up your head, breathe deeply, because the time of restoration has come. You will not remain bound to what hurt you. You will not be defined by losses. You will not live forever marked by scars. Every wound of yours will be turned into a fountain of healing for others. Every tear will be a testimony of victory. Every pain will be a platform of spiritual authority. You did not stay in the valley to die. You stayed to flourish. The desert that seemed like the end will become a garden, and the stones that wounded you will be memorials of my faithfulness. Remain in me. Do not let go of my hand now. Do not surrender to the fear that still tries to whisper. I am doing something new, and you will be the first to witness it. The impossible will become ordinary before you. The doors that never opened will be flung wide. The ground that seemed dry will gush with living waters. Where there was no way out, I will create a path. You will look back and see that nothing was in vain. Everything worked together to bring you here, to this moment where I declare, the victory is yours, because I am with you. I am the one who rises above every altar and throne of the earth. I am the judge who changes sentences, the general who commands invisible armies, and the Father who sustains your life when the foundations seem to collapse before you. I do not bow before any human power, nor am I contained by decrees that men raise. My word is supreme authority, and when I speak, even the heavens move in obedience. I am the one who raises kings and brings them down, who opens ways where logic sees no exit, who turns deserts into abundant springs. When everything around you seemed unstable, I was your rock. When everything solid collapsed, I remained as the firm ground beneath your feet. I know the weight of the accusations that were hurled against you. I know the judgments that surrounded you and the voices that declared defeat over your life. But I am the eternal judge, and no human verdict has the final word over you. When they said there was no future, I had already prepared a tomorrow. When they tried to close doors, I opened gates that no one can lock. When they tried to erase your name, I wrote your identity in my eternal book. The words that tried to wound you have no power before my decree of life. My authority is not limited to the visible. I move forces that human eyes cannot perceive. I command the wind and it blows in the right direction. I speak to the waters and they obey. I command stars and they align. In the same way, I move the invisible over your life. Do not be deceived into thinking that you are left to chance. Every detail has been aligned by my spirit. Every step of yours has been guided by a hand that has never failed. Even when you do not understand, I remain in command. The enemy rose against you with lies, accusing you before the heavens, trying to convince you that you were alone. He wanted to annul you with feelings of unworthiness, planting doubts about the value you carry. But I rose as your advocate, and my voice silenced every accusation. I declared, "This is my son, this is my daughter, chosen, set apart, sealed with purpose." No accusation can resist the blood I released over you. No condemnation can survive my decree of grace. I send my armies on your behalf. Angels move at my command, bringing comfort, protection, and victory. They position themselves around you as a living wall, and even though you do not see them, they surround you in faithfulness. The Archangel Michael rises as a warrior before you with a flaming sword that shatters chains. He is not exalted above me, but is a minister of my order, guarding the life I chose, defending the purpose I planted in you. He and those who walk at his side know the weight of the mission, and even wounded, they remain standing, because my word sustains each of them. You were called to walk under my covering. The world tries to offer fragile supports, but I am your fortress. The enemy tried to raise walls to suffocate you, but I turned those same walls into a stage of testimony. Every time they thought you would fall, I sustained you. Every time they declared your end, I announced a new beginning. You are not at the mercy of luck. You are led by my perfect plan. Look back and realize it was not you who kept your life standing. It was I who raised you every time you collapsed. It was I who held your hands when you thought you would sink. It was I who opened the sea before you, even though your eyes only saw agitated waters. I did not leave you, and I will not leave you. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. I gave you identity and destiny. Do not define yourself by the words that wounded you, but by the voice that now calls you. Do not look at your weakness as a limit, because in your weakness, my strength is perfected. Do not look at your losses as proof of failure, because they will turn into seeds of abundance. Do not look at what is lacking in your hands, because I am your inexhaustible provision. I am the shepherd who guides you through shadowy valleys and through green pastures. I not only lead you, I also walk with you.
I not only show direction, I am the direction. I not only point out ways, I am the way. And on this path, even when you stumble, I will be there to lift you. Even when you get lost, I will call you back. Even when darkness tries to confuse you, my light will illuminate your steps. I am the God who battles for you. You do not need to fight alone. You do not need to carry weight greater than your shoulders can bear.
I am the general who commands heavenly hosts, and my voice makes armies of darkness retreat. The Archangel Michael stands firm under my command, and no spirit of darkness can resist the sword I placed in his hand. You do not fight abandoned, you fight surrounded by heavenly power. Lift up your faith now, let your confidence bloom again. Do not stop looking at the ruins, look at what I am rebuilding. Do not remain bound to the memories of what was lost, for new fruit is already sprouting before you. Do not feed your mind with fear, but with promise. Do not define yourself by the night, but by the dawn that already begins to shine. I declare victory over you. Not a distant victory, but a present victory that is already manifesting in the invisible. You will see signs arising, small sparks that will announce the fire of my glory. You will perceive changes that do not come from your strength, but from my outstretched arm. You will experience rest where once there was anguish, peace where once there was war, joy where once there was weeping. You are mine. That is the truth that nothing can erase. Neither your weakness nor your mistakes nor the attacks against you can undo this reality. I called you, I chose you, I set you apart. Your life is like a letter written by me, and no one can tear this letter. What I began, I will complete. What I promised, I will fulfill. What I declared, I will accomplish. And when the heavens open before you, you will know that every battle was worth it. Every tear was gathered, every struggle was transformed into testimony. Every pain was used as a foundation. You will look at the past and see that I was in every detail, and you will look at the future and see that nothing can resist my hand. I am the one who raises, who restores, who saves, and who makes live. The whole heaven has already moved because of you. Walls of fire were raised, rivers of light were released, and even Michael and the 7 archangels placed themselves between you and the abyss, wounding themselves so that your life would be preserved. Nothing you have lived was simple. Nothing you went through was mere circumstance. Every step of yours was surrounded by invisible battles, and even if you did not see it, the heavens fought wars so that your story would not be stolen.
I did not allow you to be destroyed, because in you there is an eternal seal that no enemy can break. Every arrow launched against you was diverted. Every hidden snare was torn apart. Every ambush was undone, because I commanded my ministers to stand in position around you. There were moments when you felt the weight of an unbearable burden, as if the darkness was determined to erase you. There were days when loneliness seemed to scream louder than any promise.
But I say to you, in those moments walls of fire surrounded you, walls your eyes could not see, but which were impenetrable to the enemy. What seemed like silence was, in fact, the echo of battles fought in dimensions you could not understand. I did not leave you at the mercy of chance. I myself released rivers of light that ran like a current, undoing the chains that tried to imprison your soul. You thought you were too weak to resist, but you did not realize that you were carried in my own hands. I did not only send help, I myself descended to sustain you. I did not only protect you, I enveloped you in a presence so intense that even though darkness surrounded you, it could not pass through the barrier of my glory. You do not know how many times you were spared. You cannot imagine how many attacks were neutralized before reaching you. Even if you do not perceive it, the fact that you are here now is a sign that you were guarded by a love that never tires and by a faithfulness that never fails. I saw when your mind filled with confused thoughts, when you believed there was no reason to go on. I saw discouragement trying to suffocate your heart, and yet I breathed life over you. I raised walls not to isolate you, but to protect you. I created corridors of light around you so that your steps would not stumble.
I hid you in my presence when the enemy believed he had already won. He thought your hope would be torn away, but he did not know that I myself was the root sustaining your faith. The heavens bent for you. There was an outpouring of glory that the earth could not comprehend. There were movements so deep that even the archangels felt the weight of battle. The Archangel Michael was wounded in your defense, but he did not retreat, because what I decreed over your life cannot be broken.
He placed himself as a living wall, a flaming sword in hand, facing legions that rose against your destiny. Even in the weariness of war, he remained firm because my word sustained his strength. Do not think you are insignificant. Do not judge your life by what you see around you. If the whole heaven moved because of you, it is because you carry a calling that the world cannot measure. The enemy would not have invested so much against you if he did not know the weight of the promise you carry. The intensity of the war reveals the greatness of the treasure I hid within you. You are not small, you are not disposable, you are not forgotten. You are part of my plan. You are a fundamental piece in the design I traced from eternity. I not only preserved your life, I prepared you for what is to come. Every battle you went through strengthened you, even if you do not realize it now. Every dark night taught you to recognize my voice. Every silence became fertile ground for the faith that will blossom in you. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was in vain. What seemed like loss was training. What seemed like delay was preparation. What seemed like punishment was care. I was shaping your heart so that it could sustain what I am about to release over you. Do not fear the enemies that still rise, for they will not prevail. Do not be frightened by the voices that still try to silence you, for they will be silenced. Do not stop looking at the wounds, for I myself heal each one of them. You will be surprised by the restoration that will come so intensely that you will no longer recognize the ground where you cried. The tears that watered your pain will turn into rivers of joy. The valleys that seemed like prisons will become wide paths of victory. Remain in me, for even greater things I will do. I will show you that the wall of fire is not only defense, it is also a sign of my burning presence with you. I will reveal to you that the rivers of light are not only protection, but also paths that will guide you into a future full of my glory. You were not preserved just to survive, you were guarded to flourish. There are fruits you have not yet seen. There are harvests you have not yet touched. There are promises you have not yet experienced. But now the time has come when I will begin to manifest before you what was kept. And when you look around and see the impossible becoming reality, you will remember that nothing happened by chance. You will remember that you were guarded by invisible battles, that your life was defended by heavenly armies, that even the archangels endured wounds so that your purpose would remain. Then your heart will be filled with gratitude, and your mouth will declare that I am faithful. And you will walk knowing that you are not an orphan, that you are not forgotten, that you are not a survivor lost in time, but that you are heir to eternal promises. The whole heaven has already moved because of you, and I continue to move the heavens in your favor. Just as from the beginning I preserved you, so now I send you forth for the fulfillment of what I prepared. Do not fear, do not retreat, do not hide yourself. The same God who raised walls of fire is the God who now opens paths of light before you. The same God who sent Michael and his companions is the God who today whispers to your heart, "You are mine," and nothing can change that. I decree victory over you, and this word does not return empty. Doors will open as if they were glass, shattered by the wind of my spirit. Peace will descend like gentle fire, and abundance will flow like a river that no one can stop. It is not a distant promise, it is a reality that is already manifesting in the unseen. I have released over your life decrees that tear veils and break chains, decrees that no human power can revoke. Even though everything around you may seem closed, you will see cracks turn into paths, walls transform into gates, and what was once silence become a song of victory. I speak of victory not only over external circumstances, but over the depths of your soul. The victory I declare is healing for old wounds, rest for weary hearts, clarity for minds that wandered in shadows. I breathe life over areas you believed were dead, and I cause what was suffocated by pain to bloom. There is no territory in you that cannot be restored by my presence. I enter every corner of your story and transform ashes into crowns, weeping into dancing, ruin into foundation for something new. I am God who not only wins, but who transforms defeats into testimonies. I not only remove the weight, I convert it into a platform of authority. The struggles you faced do not define you as defeated, but as a survivor of grace, heir of eternal promises. Where they said there was no way out, I show that I was always preparing the route of your deliverance. Where they said your time had ended, I declare that this is only the beginning of what I have prepared. I place before you doors that have been locked for generations, doors many tried to open and could not. I place keys in your hands, keys of influence, of provision, of revelation. When you walk, you will not only see open doors, but you will see walls dissolving before your faith. It is not your strength that will break barriers, it is the breath of my spirit. The wind of my mouth is enough to shatter prisons and bring light where the enemy sowed darkness. The peace that descends upon you is not the fragile peace the world offers, but peace that burns like gentle fire. A peace that cannot be stolen by circumstances, that cannot be negotiated by external pressures, that cannot be extinguished by storms. This peace will be your shield in days of confusion, your fortress when everything seems unstable, your refuge when fear tries to surround you. I am your peace, and where I dwell, there is no room for despair. The abundance I release is not limited to material resources. I speak of abundance of life, of restored relationships, of renewed dreams, of multiplied strength. I speak of rivers overflowing with hope, of joy bursting forth like a spring in dry land. The scarcity you have known will not be your identity. The lack you experienced will not be your inheritance. I change your territory, and where there was desert, inexhaustible springs will arise. Do not look at your inability, for victory does not depend on your strength. Do not count your resources, for what I prepare is not measured in numbers. Do not compare yourself with those around you, for your path is unique, and what I planted in you I did not plant in anyone else. I am your source, I am your security, I am your abundance. When your hands cannot reach, my hands supply you. When your ideas run out, my wisdom opens horizons you never imagined. I tell you, Rise. Do not sit in the dust of defeat, for your garment is honor. Do not hide behind shame, for your face will be illuminated by my glory. Do not believe the lie that you were forgotten, for your story is being written in letters of victory. I not only declare, I am already moving the heavens, so you will see with your eyes what you once only dreamed. And so you do not doubt I send signs. You will see small victories sprouting before you as a preview of the greater harvest. You will experience unexpected new beginnings, doors opening without effort, encounters that will change your course. Do not despise the small beginnings, for each sign is confirmation of what I have already decreed. Victory is not a postponed promise, it is a reality in gestation, and it is already beginning to manifest. The Archangel Michael remains standing as a witness of my decree over you. He carries the sword as a sign that the battles did not defeat you. He does not fight for himself but under my order, and his presence is proof that the heavens continue to guard you. The angels who were wounded in your defense will be restored by your perseverance, and each response of yours in faith releases strength for them to rise even firmer. I did not call you only to survive, I called you to triumph. I did not preserve you only so you would breathe, but so you would shine as a beacon in the midst of darkness. Your life will be a sign for many. Your victory will inspire weary hearts. Your story will be a testimony of my power. You are not merely a survivor, you are a conqueror through the strength of my spirit. Do not fear the next steps. Even if you do not know where to go, I will open the way. Even if you see no way out, I will create a passage. Even if your strength falters, I will carry you. You do not walk alone, you walk surrounded by the glory that covers you.
I am your guide, your comfort, your shelter. I go before you, and what could have been a trap becomes only a step toward your victory. I decree victory over you, and I decree it complete. Not only in one area, but in all. Not only in the visible, but also in the invisible. Not only in the present, but also in the future. My word does not return empty, and what I speak already begins to happen. Trust, remain, believe.
For soon your eyes will behold the fullness of what I have prepared, and your mouth will be filled with joy, and your heart will know that I, the Lord, am faithful in everything I promise. I call you to say yes, to not resist, to open your heart without reservations, because your obedience is not small, it is a key that releases rivers of healing. It is a seed that restores invisible wounds and awakens the heavens in your favor. Do not underestimate the power of your response, because a single inclination of your heart generates movements in the heavens that change destinies. When you say yes, walls that seemed eternal begin to dissolve. When you say yes, chains that bound entire generations break before the light. When you say yes, the heavens fill with songs, because your faith becomes a bridge between the invisible and the visible. Do not be deceived into thinking your obedience is too small to move the eternal. I turn simple gestures into signs of greatness. One word of surrender from you is like a key that turns and opens doors of hidden treasures. A silent act of yielding is like a seed planted in fertile soil that, in the right time, becomes a tree of shade and fruit. I do not look at the size of your actions, I look at the disposition of your heart. And when I find a heart surrendered, I fill it with life, I cover it with glory, I multiply beyond what is imagined. The resistance you often feel does not come from me, but from voices that try to convince you it is not worth it. They are voices of doubt, of fear, of unresolved past. But I tell you, silence those voices with your yes. Do not wait to have all the answers to obey, because obedience precedes revelation. When you decide to trust, I open clearings in the midst of darkness. When you decide to yield, I turn uncertainty into certainty and weakness into strength. your obedience is not limited to you. It touches dimensions you cannot see. Every time you say yes, angels are strengthened. Every time you remain, invisible wounds begin to be healed. Every time you trust, what was paralyzed in the invisible begins to flow like a river. The Archangel Michael and the celestial warriors who place themselves in battle for your life receive renewal when you do not give up. Their faithfulness finds support in your response because there is a link between what happens in your spirit and what manifests in the heavenly courts. I do not call you to a heavy obedience, but to an obedience that sets you free. It is not a yoke that binds you, it is a path that leads you. It is not a burden, it is wings that lift you. The enemy tried to distort the word obedience, making you believe it is loss, but I tell you it is gain. When you obey, you are not losing, you are taking possession of what I have already prepared. When you obey, you are not renouncing life, you are receiving life in abundance. Do not stop at the fear of failing, because even your stumbles can turn into steps when your heart is surrendered to me. I do not expect perfection from you, I expect sincerity. I do not demand strength from you, I offer my strength to sustain you. What I seek is your yes, your willingness to walk, your desire to remain. And when I find that within you I pour out grace without measure, understand, your response opens paths for others. When you say yes, you not only change your story, you change stories that have not yet been born. Your surrender releases inheritance for future generations. Your faith opens doors for others to enter. Your perseverance is a sign for many who are still on the sidelines. What you live today is not only for you, but so that through you many may find the way. The enemy knows this, and that is why he tries to silence your voice and weaken your decision. He knows your obedience heals old wounds and unlocks miracles waiting for manifestation. He knows your yes is a powerful weapon against darkness. But I tell you, do not yield. Even if it seems small, remain. Even if it seems invisible, continue. Even if it seems fruitless now, trust. Because every act of yours is seen in the heavens and recorded as a seed of victory. I want you to understand, your yes strengthens walls of protection. Your yes awakens rivers of healing. Your yes restores what seemed lost. Do not underestimate what I can do through your surrender. Do not limit what I can accomplish with your open heart. When you give, I multiply. When you trust, I advance. When you remain, I fulfill what I promised. The Archangel Michael remains in position, not because he has power in himself, but because he carries the order of my throne. His flaming sword shines more intensely when your heart remains faithful. He is a visible sign of how precious your life is. Even though he was wounded in battle, he did not retreat because he knows your story cannot be interrupted, and your obedience brings upon him and upon many other angels the renewal needed for them to remain firm around you. So open your heart. Do not stand on the sidelines of what I prepare. Do not watch from afar what you could live closely. Do not let hesitation steal the time of promise. This is the moment to say yes, to yield without reservation, to trust without fear. I will not disappoint you. I will not leave you alone on the path. I would not call you to obey if I were not ready to sustain you in every step. Your life will be marked by the difference obedience makes. You will see doors opening because you chose to trust. You will experience miracles because you decided to remain. You will feel peace because you preferred to listen to my voice, and what once seemed impossible will become ordinary before your eyes. Not because you deserve it, but because I am faithful, and when I find a surrendered heart, I reveal myself in fullness. Say yes, and you will see rivers of healing flowing within and outside of you. Say yes, and you will feel scars being healed by my love. Say yes, and you will experience the heavens moving in your favor. What today is invitation, tomorrow will be testimony. What today is decision, tomorrow will be victory. What today is surrender, tomorrow will be harvest. Trust, because your obedience will be the mark of a new time in your life, and no one will be able to stop what I have already determined. Each pain you carried was fertile ground. Each tear became a hidden seed. Each silence was a space where I hid eternal treasures. And now I reveal that even what seemed like destruction was part of the field of your victory. You believed you were only suffering, but I was sowing in you a harvest that surpasses your understanding. You thought it was loss, but I was writing the beginning of something that could only be born in soil, watered by tears. Every dark night was not waste, it was preparation. Every desert you crossed was not abandonment, it was sacred ground where I planted deep roots that now begin to bloom. I saw your shoulders bent under the weight of pains you could not explain. I saw when you hid your weeping so as not to reveal fragility before others. I saw the silence of your heart when it seemed faith was fading within you. But while you believed you were broken, I was shaping you. While you believed you were alone, I was filling you with hidden seeds. While you believed emptiness was a sign of absence, I was filling your inner being with promises that time will reveal. Nothing you lived was useless. Even the moments when you fell to your knees without strength were an altar for my presence. Even the moments when you felt forgotten were caves where I hid treasures no one can steal. Even the times when you thought everything was lost were necessary chapters, so your story would carry authority before many. You were not marked by defeat, you were marked by preparation. The fire did not come to consume you, it came to purify. The waters did not come to drown you, they came to teach you to walk upon them. I turned your silences into songs you do not yet hear. I turned your wounds into seeds of healing that will sprout in other hearts. I turned your scars into marks of victory. The enemy believed you would come out destroyed, but he did not know that I had already written that you would come out multiplied. What seemed to be your end is only a marker of a new beginning. What seemed ruin is a foundation for something that cannot be shaken. Look with the eyes of the Spirit and you will see that nothing was wasted. Every loss will be turned into multiplication. Every tear will become a fountain of comfort for others. Every silence will be transformed into a prophetic voice. You are stronger than you imagine, not by your own strength, but because my hand has always been upon you. The war did not steal your essence, it revealed the gold that was hidden. The night did not extinguish your flame, it only made your light shine brighter. I am opening your eyes to understand. Your pain was seed, your waiting was preparation, your struggle was the path. You did not go through all this in vain. I would not allow you to suffer only to accumulate marks. I allowed it because I knew from there something eternal would be born. Now the time has come to see sprouting what was sown in tears. Now the time has come to taste that I turn sorrow into joy and ashes into beauty. And when you look back, you will see that every tear had meaning. You will see that every pain was fertile ground. You will see that every silence was space for me to speak to you more deeply. And you will recognize that you were sustained not by your strength, but by my faithfulness. You will no longer look at your story with shame, but with gratitude. You will no longer see your wounds as weaknesses, but as living testimonies that I was with you. Archangel Michael was by your side even when you did not perceive, enduring battles you would never comprehend. He was wounded for you, because what I carry in you is far too precious to be touched by darkness. But your resistance, your decision not to give up, strengthened not only your life but also those who guard the calling I placed in you. You are not small because all of heaven moved for your sake. I did not let you lose what was eternal. Even though you felt earthly losses, what was heavenly remained intact. You remain chosen, you remain set apart, you remain heir of my promise. Nothing that happened was able to erase that. On the contrary, everything only confirmed how valuable you are before me. Lift your head now, for the field of your victory is already before you. The seeds that were watered by tears begin to sprout. The pains you believed would last forever are already being turned into strength. The silence that seemed heavy will be broken by a sound of joy that will rise from your own heart. And all who look at you will see that I am the God who turns ruins into monuments and deserts into gardens. Archangel Michael remains standing, not to be exalted above me, but to show you that the battles were not in vain. He raises his flaming sword again as a sign that there is still much to conquer, but now you no longer walk bowed under the weight of pain. You walk lifted by the strength of the victory I have already declared over you. So do not fear tomorrow. Do not carry the marks as weight anymore, but as trophies of overcoming. Do not look back with lament, but with understanding. I was in every detail, I was in every silence. I turned every fall into a step. And now I tell you, what seemed destruction was fertile ground. And from that ground will spring abundance, peace, and joy as you have never experienced. Nothing that happened to you was by chance, because every circumstance bowed before the palm of my hand, and what looked like disorder was only the secret path by which I was leading you to the destiny that has always been written. You believed at certain moments that you were lost, that your steps had no direction, but every curve, every detour, every pause was part of the script I drew up before your existence. I never lost control. I never allowed your life to be handed over to chaos. When it seemed that everything was without form, I was silently weaving a larger design, stitching your story with threads of eternal purpose. The enemy tried to convince you that you were a victim of chance, a prisoner of senseless circumstances, but I tell you that nothing went unnoticed before me. The doors that closed redirected you to paths only I knew. The people who left your life were not losses without explanation. They were necessary removals to preserve what I was generating in you. The delays that frustrated you were, in truth, my perfect timing preparing the ground. What looked like delay was protection. What looked like refusal was deliverance. What looked like silence was a strategy from heaven. You are not the work of chance. You are the work of my will. You are not the result of blind forces, but the fruit of my love. Your life does not move at the mercy of unpredictable winds. It moves according to the breath of my spirit. I know every hair on your head, every detail of your heart, every deep longing of your soul. There is nothing in you that escapes my care. And every circumstance, even those that wounded you, was bent to cooperate with the destiny I established over you. I use even the stones that were thrown at you to raise walls of protection. I use even the tears you shed to water seeds of victory. I use even the words of scorn you received to strengthen your identity in me. The enemy did not understand that the more he tried to wound you, the deeper I grew roots of faith within you. He believed he was dimming your light, but he only prepared the stage for my glory to be seen through you. I led you along paths you did not understand, but each one of them was necessary. There were moments when the weight of waiting seemed unbearable, but in the waiting I was shaping you. There were instants when you felt abandoned, but in the abandonment I was revealing to you that I am enough. There were days when you believed there was no way out, but there I was drawing the root of your deliverance. You were not forgotten for even a moment. You were guided step by step to this time in which I reveal. Nothing was chanced, everything was destiny. The heavens bent more than once over your story, and even Archangel Michael rose in battles you could not see to ensure that your destiny would not be interrupted. He fought wars your eyes never witnessed. He was wounded for your sake, and even so he remained standing because my word sustained his strength. Every invisible movement of heaven was to ensure that what I wrote about you would be fulfilled exactly as I planned. You need to understand that what you call disorder was only my secret method of construction. I do not work according to human logic. I work according to eternity. What seemed fragmented will now show itself as pieces that fit perfectly. What seemed confusing will now be clarity. What seemed loss will now be multiplication. What seemed a broken road will now be a firm bridge to the future. I had already written your arrival to this time. No force managed to erase that line from your story. No accusation managed to cancel what I decreed. No delay managed to steal what I prepared. You are exactly where I wanted you to be, in the exact place where my glory will manifest with greater intensity. Do not compare yourself. Do not grieve over what you did not understand. Only trust, because I am showing that everything worked together, even what you believed would be your end. I am the God who writes without erasures, who builds without flaws, who leads without getting lost. Even if your vision does not reach, my vision has already contemplated everything. Even if you question, I have not stopped guiding you. Even if you waver, I have not stopped sustaining you. Everything that happened to you was bent to my purpose. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was out of place. Nothing escaped my control. Archangel Michael remains as a witness that the war was fought and won, not by your strength, but by my faithfulness. He is a sign that even in the invisible, heaven moved to protect your destiny. And now I declare over you, you will see with your own eyes that every step, every curve, every silence, every pain, every delay had a purpose. You will recognize that I was always with you, and that the secret path was, in truth, the perfect road. So rest in me. Do not torment yourself anymore with what you do not understand. Do not worry about what seemed unjust. Do not linger over what seemed loss. Look ahead, because now I reveal that nothing was in vain. You were guided, you were shaped, you were prepared. And what seemed chance was destiny, and what seemed confusion was direction. Today I tell you, walk in peace, because you are exactly where I wanted you to be. And from now on you will see my promise blossom before you. Open the eyes of the Spirit, because the invisible now cries louder than the visible. Angels rise even when wounded. Michael lifts the sword that burns like living fire, and the whole heaven witnesses that the time has come to see the impossible happen. I tell you, do not look only at what your natural eyes see, because there is a greater movement happening around you. The walls of reality cannot contain what I have released. What seemed distant already draws near. What seemed impossible is already beginning to be born before you. I breathe upon you the vision of the invisible. Where the world only sees limits, I make you see open horizons. Where they say there is no solution, I show you rivers breaking through dry land. Where they affirm that the story is over, I write new chapters with the ink of eternity. You were not called to live imprisoned by what is visible. You were called to walk by faith. And faith allows you to see before your eyes behold. You thought the heavens were silent, but now hear the sound of celestial swords being lifted, the sound of wings opening, the sound of victory already echoing in the air. Even the angels who fell exhausted in the battlefield rise again because my voice restores their strength. They rise not because they are indestructible, but because my word sustains them. What seemed like weakness now turns into multiplied strength, and what seemed like defeat is revealed as preparation for victory. I show you that the invisible governs the visible. The roots of everything that flourishes on the earth are hidden beneath it. So it is with you. The victories you will see first sprouted in the invisible. Do not despise the small signs, because they are announcements of something much greater. The impossible you awaited has already begun to be released. Every prayer raised was seed that now breaks open to bear fruit. Every patient waiting was watered by my faithfulness, and now comes the time of harvest. Do not fear when I move things quickly. What took years to prepare can happen in moments when I release my decree. Do not be startled if from one day to the next you see doors opening, healings happening, relationships being restored, opportunities arising. I am the God of the sudden, and what seemed stagnant can bloom before you without warning. The invisible works in silence until suddenly it bursts into visible manifestations. Archangel Michael does not lift his sword out of vanity, but in obedience to my command. He is a sign of how precious your destiny is. He did not grow weary in vain. He was not wounded in vain. He did not remain in vain. His flaming sword not only cuts darkness, but opens paths. Where there was no road, he strikes the air and opens a passage. Where there were walls, his blade burns and dissolves resistance. He is minister of my care, living witness that you are guarded by forces beyond your comprehension. I tell you, do not underestimate the power that now moves in your favor. If angels, even wounded, rise to fight, it is because your calling cannot be interrupted. If the whole heaven bows to witness, it is because your victory is already sealed. You do not walk alone, you do not fight alone, you do not face this war without covering. My army surrounds your life, and even if you do not see it, you already perceive the impact of what happens in the invisible. You will be surprised by the impossible happening before you. Areas of your life that were dry will be filled with life. Doors that seemed forgotten will open. Promises you thought lost will manifest with renewed strength. The impossible will cease to be just a word and will become tangible reality. You will sing new songs. You will tell testimonies that today seem like distant dreams. You will live answers that surpass logic. And when this happens, you will know that it was not the fruit of your ability, but of my intervention. It was not your strength that moved, it was my hand. It was not your intelligence that planned, it was my eternal decree already written. It was not chance, it was purpose. It was not coincidence, it was destiny. Everything converges to this time when my glory is revealed in you and through you. Open your spiritual ears and listen. Heaven is in celebration. Angels proclaim victory. The sound of triumph already echoes even before you see with your eyes, and you will be a participant in this heavenly symphony. Your heart will align to the rhythm of heaven. Your mouth will be filled with declarations of faith. Your feet will walk in firm steps because you will know that I am with you. I show you that nothing can stop what is about to happen. Neither accusations, nor barriers, nor human limitations can prevent it. What I have spoken is already decreed. What I have released is already in motion. What I have promised is already underway. There is no delay in my clock, no mistake in my ways, no flaw in my plans. Everything is fulfilled at the exact time, and now has come the hour to see the impossible become visible. Archangel Michael remains as witness, but the victory does not come from him, it comes from me. He only confirms with his sword that the decree has already been released. And you will see that the heavens did not move in vain. Every tear that watered the soil, every prayer that rose like incense, every hidden cry now translates into answer. The impossible bows before my voice, and you will live what you never imagined. So do not fear, do not doubt, do not draw back. Open your eyes of the Spirit and behold. The invisible already cries louder. Heaven already sings victory. The angels have already risen. The impossible has already begun to happen. And you, my chosen one, are a living part of this eternal movement. Behold, I declare the end of the waiting. Promises bloom, seeds break through the ground, angels rise restored, and the breath of my faithfulness covers you, because you were never alone, and now you will see that the victory I prepared is greater than you ever dreamed. Do not look any longer at the days of silence as if they were loss, because every second was counted and transformed into treasure for this moment. The time that seemed empty now turns into abundance, and the desert that seemed endless now blossoms before your eyes. I am the God who fulfills, and not only promises. Every word that has come out of my mouth has already been fulfilled in the invisible, and now you begin to see it in the visible. What germinated in secret now breaks the ground before you. What was hidden now blooms in fullness. What seemed buried was only seed, and now it grows strong, bearing fruit that will multiply. You will understand that nothing was in vain, that all the waiting produced something eternal. My angels rise with new strength. They who were wounded at your side now receive renewal from my throne. The wings that bled are healed by the breath of my glory. The sword that grew weary is reignited by the fire that flows from my presence. And even Archangel Michael, who endured wars for your sake, now shines again with restored vigor. His faithfulness in battle was not forgotten, and now he rises as a sign that your victory is sealed in the heavens. You no longer walk on ground of doubt, but on firm soil of promise. The enemy tried to convince you that you would always live in waiting, but now you will see that the time of waiting has turned into the time of harvest. The hope that seemed fragile now becomes unshakable certainty. What was only invisible faith is now reality before you. No longer will you ask, when? Because now you see with your own eyes what I prepared. I breathe upon you a new breath, breath of courage, of life, of renewal. The weight you carried is removed, and in its place I place garments of honor. The ashes that marked your past are exchanged for a crown of joy. The weeping that filled your nights is turned into a song of celebration. You will be a witness that I am faithful, that I do not forget, that I do not fail, that I do not let fall to the ground any of the words I speak. The enemy thought he would erase your future, but now he will be put to shame because you will see multiplication in areas you thought were lost. You will see relationships being restored, dreams being reborn, strength returning. You will see your table set before you as a sign of my goodness. You will see waters flowing where there was only dryness. You will see the impossible happen before you, and your mouth will be filled with joy. Do not fear tomorrow anymore, because your future is already kept in me. Do not carry insecurity anymore, because I am your security. Do not doubt anymore, because now you are a living witness of my faithfulness. Everything I prepared is greater than what you dreamed, because you asked for small things, but I released great things. You expected limited answers, but I prepared unlimited abundance. You imagined one way out, but I prepared paths that multiply before you. Archangel Michael remains as guardian of what is already established. He does not bow to defeat, but lifts his sword as a witness that victory is complete. His presence at your side is a sign that not only were you preserved, but now you are established. He not only guards your present, but also opens the way for your future. And while he remains vigilant, I myself sustain you with my right hand. I declare that this is the time when promises bloom like a vast field, when seeds break through the ground with irresistible strength, when the faithfulness that has always been upon you now manifests in visible form. Nothing can erase what I planted, nothing can steal what I released, nothing can stop what I have already begun. You are a living witness that I am the God who fulfills, who restores, who exalts, who saves. Rise now and walk in joy. Do not remain any longer in the memories of what was lost, but celebrate what has already bloomed. Do not look back with sorrow, but look ahead with expectation. The best did not remain in the past, the best is before you. The harvest is abundant, the river is overflowing, the heavens are open. You are not an orphan, you are an heir. You are not forgotten, you are remembered. You are not just a survivor, you are a conqueror by my word. Behold, I declare the end of the waiting. Your life will be a testimony of victory. Your days will be marked by abundance. Your heart will be filled with peace. Your mouth will be a source of songs. Your feet will walk in safety. And all who look at you will see that I am faithful, because you were never alone and now you live the fullness of what I prepared.